Hi, my name is Delphine and I run a video production company called Kookaburra Film, and we specialize in creating beautiful brand story videos for passionate business owners. So I'm going to walk you through a framework that we use to help people tell their story. This one works really well with service-based business owner. However, you can definitely adapt it to product as well. And I'm going to try to give you a few examples along the way to show you how you could tweak it to make it work for you. I started Kookaburra Film because I really wanted to help people tell their story in a very authentic way. I wanted to create videos that would have almost like a documentary feel to it, because I know how powerful this type of videos are in terms of the connection they create with your audience. They're really great to help your customer get to know you better and understand your brand. A little bit more about me before we get started. So you can probably pick up on a bit of an accent here. I grew up in France and I grew up with a dad that was really passionate about photography. So I got introduced to it fairly early. And we had a room in our house that we could turn into a dark room. And so we spent quite a couple of nights developing film, which was really, really fun. I'm also a former TV journalist. So I worked both as a camera operator for the newscast and a TV reporter, which was a really great way for me to really develop my storytelling skills and being able to tell a story in a very short amount of time. And last thing, I'm also a really big traveler. And so outside of living in France, I've also lived in the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia. So why should you create a brand story video for your business? For many, many reasons, but the most important one is probably because your client wants to know you. They want to know who you are. They want to know what your business is all about, your brand values, your brand philosophy, and they want to know that before they start working with you. And so a brand story video is going to be able to give all of this information in a very short amount of time. So in just a few minutes, you're going to be able to position yourself. So why should you create a brand story video for your business? For many, many reasons, but the most important one is probably because your client wants to know you. They want to know who you are. They want to understand your brand, your values, your philosophies before they start working with you. And a brand story video is going to be able to give all this information in a very short amount of time. So with this type of content, you're going to be able to position yourself as an expert by going through your skills and your expertise, but also highlight your unique approach and the way you do things in your business, all while showcasing your personality. I also wanted to give you a few tips before we go into the framework. And the first one is please try to resist the temptation of writing a script, because you don't talk like you write. And so if you start writing word for word what you want to say on camera, chances are you're going to sound a lot more formal than what you would if you were simply talking. And also because if you start writing a script, you're going to be tempted to really try to learn it and try to recite it like word for word. And this is very difficult to do. And so you're going to get frustrated because you're going to forget your words. And it's just not going to be a very fun experience for you. And people are usually sound a lot more spontaneous when they simply answer questions. So try to use that framework to kind of put down your key messages without writing word for word what you're going to say. And another little piece of advice that can be really helpful for some people is try to keep it short. So try to keep your answer short, to the point, and remember that your brand story video is here to give the essential message about your brand, and it's not here to go into all the details of your services or products that can be done somewhere else. Okay, so before we get started, I would like you to pause that video and go and have a watch of Sarah Jane's brand story video from King Pixel Digital Marketing, because I'm going to refer to it in the next slides as a bit of an example. So you can find this video either in the caption below or in the workbook that you have downloaded. So a great way to start your brand story video is to simply introduce yourself. Say who you are and what you do in just 1 or 2 sentences. So if you remember SJ's brand story video, she mentioned that she runs a marketing agency, but most importantly, she used a very powerful statement. She says, I work with business owners to get their time back and increase their conversion rate. And so already in the first 10 seconds of her video, she's mentioning probably the 2 most important pain points of her client. And chances is it's going to get people's attention and getting people to want to learn more about her. And a little quick tip if you're not really sure about the language you want to use here, thinking about what your website headline is, your statement on your website could be a good way to find that first introduction kind of sentences, or if you have a catchphrase that you use quite often at networking event, for example, that could be a good way to find it. All right, next we're going to go into your background, because this is really going to help position you as the expert. And so you want to go into experiences, skills that have really shaped you and shaped your unique expertise. But you don't really want to turn that into a long list of all the jobs and position you might have held in the past. You really want to be selective and select the experience that are relevant for your business now. And so to give you an example, I'm going to use my own business. So I've graduated from film school, and I had like a few different like experience in film set and TV productions and things like that. But what I'm going to focus on when I tell my brand story is my experience as a TV journalist, because I think this is really the experience that shaped the type of videos I'm doing now. And I think it's the experience that really sets me apart from in my industry. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. If your background is not relevant to what you do now, for example, if you had a complete change of career and you're doing something completely different in your business than what you used to do in your job, for example, then you're gonna want to tell that story of, someone that quit her day job to pursue her passion, for example. Like the lady you can see in that picture, her name is Alien. She used to be a teacher, but it wasn't bringing her any joy anymore, and she reconnected with her childhood passion, who was baking, and ended up turning that into a business. And so when we told her brand story, that's what we focused on. All right, next you're gonna want to share your why, because this is so important. It's gonna show how passionate you are about what you do, and it's gonna show how much you care about your client's success. And if you remember SJ's video, her why is very strong. She used to work 80 hours a week, really going towards burnout, and she ended up finding a way to work smarter, not harder. And that's the reason why now she's very passionate about sharing this with other people. Um, Sometimes your why can also come from your own observation of how things are done in your industry and feeling like things could be done differently or that there is a gap in the market that you could feel. So I want to give you the example of Suzanne Ingleton, which is the lady in the picture. And so Suzanne is a weight loss coach. And before having her business, she was working as a personal trainer. And during her years as a personal trainer, she quickly started to see that there was a really unhealthy race to start to lose weight, and just really drastic, extreme diet and extreme exercising that was just not sustainable. Like people would put the weight back on after a while. And so her why also came from seeing that unhealthy habits that people had, and that something was missing in the weight loss world, and that things needed to be done a different way. Okay, so now that you've touched on your why, we're going to go into your unique approach. And so this is where you want to kind of give an overview of how you do things in your business. And I think people often put a lot of pressure on that, like thinking that, oh, I'm not really doing things differently. Like, you don't need to have like revolutionize your whole industry to have a unique approach. Um, your experience, your personality, all of that is going to build like your personal touch. So Terry, for example, at Studio Sunder, um, she has a very unique way of helping you build a website, and it's by using that framework of hers that really goes very deep into your brand. And that's probably not how all branding and website design studio do things, and that's her unique approach. So now you want to wrap up your video, and so you want to leave the people that are watching, really leave them wanting to take that next step and get in touch with you. And so you want to give them a glimpse of what they can expect from working with you, what are the result they can get. And so I don't know if you remember SJ's video, but she does a very powerful exit statement where she reminds you of all the things that you can get if you use marketing automation in your business. And so she used very strong statement like saving time, scaling quickly, and having your business on autopilot. And so she makes a really compelling description of how much easier your life can be if you're using her services. And so have a bit of a think of what is the transformation you take your clients on. All right, I hope this was helpful for you. If you haven't done it already, go and download the workbook that is attached. And you can start crafting your own brand story for your business. In your workbook, I've added a few more examples of brand stories videos that other brands have done with us. Hopefully that will get you inspired. And of course, please, if you have any question about the framework, or if you're struggling to structure your own brand story, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help. And before I leave you, I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of how it works if you want to create a brand story with us. So we have a package that is very tailored for this. And it starts with a strategy session where we really get to know you and get to understand your brand to really help you structure that message and really identify the essential key elements that are going to make a really good and impactful brand story. Once we've done that, we'll come to you, to your business, to film first your interview. And we usually try to do that first because we know it's a bit of a stressful moment for some people. So, like this, we get it done, and we're really here to really guide you and help you articulate your message. And once we've done your interview, then we can capture what we call the B-roll footage, but are going to be footage of you doing your thing basically, and it's going to be just images that are going to help us illustrate your story. And after the shoot, we'll edit your brand story video, and you'll receive a video that is about usually around 2 minute ish long. But on top of that, you also will receive a gallery of B-roll footage that are going to be here for you to repurpose to create even more content for your social media, for example, ads, reels, whatever it is you might need in your marketing. So that's basically how things goes. Thank you so much for watching.